screen for go. They're racing.
He says go.
He says ta-da.
And Tiger Tara roars away from them on the home turn.
Here comes another big boil over.
Equine athleticism at its best. The king is in the castle once more.
This is in one race. The rest are almost in another postcode.
She is a star with a capital S.
It's going to be a triple treat, a miracle three-peat. Ladies and gentlemen, you have witnessed history here at Menangle. What about that?
It's getting right up on the sprint lane and it's going to bolt in.
Hello, welcome to episode 106 of the Sprint Lane podcast for Harness Racing New South Wales. This is the SundHayes Session. My name is Greg Hayes and I'm here to talk about harness racing in New South Wales for the next half an hour or so. Actually, might go a little bit longer today because I've got a few guests that I want to squeeze in. With the Eureka over for another year, we quickly turn our attention to the Carnival of Cups in New South Wales and, of course, that $1 million incentive if any horse can win the 5 races during the Carnival. Big ask, but not impossible, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit later in the podcast. It's nearly 12 months since the SundHayes Session has started because my first podcast was after the running of the 2023 Carousel, and we saw the running of the heats last night at Club Menangle for 2024. There isn't a real standout this year. It's extremely open going into the event. I'm going to talk to a driver of one of the heat winners a little bit later on. More on that in a moment. Normally, I open up the podcast with an introduction, but with 4 guests on this week, we might be best to get straight into it. Who's on the show? Well, first up, I want to talk to Peter Buckman. He is the CEO of Harness Racing New South Wales. With the Carnival of Cups kicking off this Friday at Parks, I thought it would be timely to speak with Peter about the series and what he is hoping to get from it. I'll also take the opportunity to mention the dire situation Victoria is currently in, and I'm going to ask Peter whether he has a comment to make about whether participants in New South Wales ever have to fear what Victoria is currently going through. So make sure you stick around for that. I'm going to talk to Zara Fitzpatrick as well. Zara has made a huge start to her career with more than 30 winners already, but in some bad news, she was involved in a really nasty race fall at Newcastle Friday week ago. They abandoned the race. It was race number 2. She'd won the first, actually, but they called the second off. Now, it was that bad, the fall, that Robbie Morris, who was the first person on the scene after the fall, he was that badly affected that he scratched the rest of his and Kerry Ann's horses that night and went home. Zara was screaming out. She couldn't feel her legs after the fall. Now, she can't remember any of that due to the knock to the head and the shock, but I'll get Zara on to have a chat about the fall and when we can expect to see her back in the sulky. I know a very well-known harness racing identity will be very happy to hear Zara's on the podcast. I get a text nearly every second week asking when Zara will be appearing. Well, good news today, she will be on the show. Jimmy Douglas, he's joining me as well to discuss Mick Danger after its heat win of the Carousel on Saturday night. Horse is low flying at the moment. It's going to be one of the many hopes in the Carousel final. Jimmy and I, we've been mates for years. I played indoor cricket with him. To be fair, in that team, David Thorne, Gavin Fitzpatrick, Jared Alchin, Shane Sanderson played every now and then. Darren McCall, Josh Willick played a few games for us before he got injured. Nathan Jack, David Aiken played a couple. Cam Fitzpatrick, there would be plenty of others that I'm forgetting as well. So looking forward to catching up with Jimmy, and we'll have a chat about Mick Danger. Finally today, Mick Dumesny. He's a Parks man through and through, and I thought it would be good to catch up with him about all the buzz in town with the Carnival of Cups in Parks. And, of course, that starts on Friday. Great horses, great music, fingers crossed, great weather. I'll talk all things Parks Carnival of Cups with Mick a little bit later. So there is a lot to get through today, a little bit longer than normal. First up, let's catch up with the CEO of Harness Racing New South Wales, Peter Buckman. $1 million will be paid out to the connections of any horse that wins the feature race at all 5 legs of the Carnival of Cups series. It is a significant increase on the racing incentive scheme, which underpinned the revamped Carnival of Cups program in 23-24. The CEO of Harness Racing New South Wales, Peter Buckman, is joining me to have a chat. Great to catch up with you, Pete.
Morning, Hazy. How are you, mate?
Really well. This is really good news for participants in New South Wales with a chance to race for a $1 million bonus.
Yeah, Hazy, building off the back of last year, we're always looking to improve the series on that continual improvement basis. And credit to the board of Harness Racing New South Wales that they agreed to increase the bonus to $1 million. And you don't have to win it, win them all to share in the bonus. Of course, if you win 4 legs, you'll get 500,000, and 3 legs will see you receiving 250,000.
So you'd have to think that all of a sudden the Carnival of Cups obviously was a target for trainers last year with the bonus, but now with that $1 million if you can win 5, the 500 if you can win the 4, or the 250 if you can win the 3, there's got to be big name trainers now saying, well, we've got to target this big series.
Yeah, that's always been the strategy, Hazy, with regards to the revamp of the Carnival Cups, taking good horses back to the country and amplifying the harness racing product back into those markets. So absolutely, we think this will incentivise bigger trainers and well-known horses, and we should see the race being targeted by those type of trainers and horses.
Yeah, Swayze, I know he's won. He, of course, won the New Zealand Cup last year, but Jason Grimson's made it quite clear that $1 million on offer becomes a pretty big carrot, and he's going to be targeting that. Narano's another horse from the stable that's going to go that way. I guess the Carnival of Cups, it's not all about the towns, although it is a big part of the success with the big bands going and the local towns getting right behind it, but now there's that massive reward for the participants as well. So the Carnival of Cups, it's really a conglomeration of everything and making sure harness racing becomes the main thing in the town.
Yeah, that's right, Hazy. It's very much multifaceted. We're by virtue of the bonus and the prize money in and around it, is talking to our internal stakeholders and the horse populace. And then, the event itself really talks to relationship building with councils and government. And then the entertainment offering really talks to people that perhaps were previously interested in harness racing and getting them back to the track, or have never been associated and or interested with harness racing, providing the hook to get them on track, to introduce them to our product, because, you and I both know as rusted-ons, once you catch the bug, it's hard to shake. So it's really important that we execute the strategy and getting new people to harness racing, and people that perhaps have gone away from harness racing back to the game to increase participation and investment. So you're 100% right. It's a multifaceted approach, and one that we're really excited about.
I was having a look at the numbers. Amazing to see that more than 24,000 patrons attended the free events that form season 1 of the Carnival of Cups. They are amazing numbers in a day and age where it is so hard to get people back to the races.
Yeah, I think it was a good start. We won't be resting on our laurels. We had a pretty good uptake in year 1. For parks already, we've sold upward of 4,000 tickets. So that's already exceeded previous years. We know with the multiplier effect going into or getting closer to the event, we'll likely exceed 5,000 people on course for parks. So yeah, it's been a success for getting people back on track. The challenge will be the conversion rate, as we're calling it, making sure that we hang on to those people and we're putting our best foot forward to make sure that they're coming back. So we would expect to exceed numbers from last year, and we're well on track to do that. But as you say, to get 24,000 people over the course of the Carnival of Cups last year is an excellent outcome, and one that we wouldn't have had but for the Carnival of Cups concept being revamped.
And part of it is the massive Australian music acts that you're taking to the country towns.
Yeah, unashamedly so. We've got to be really honest with ourselves and know that Joe Public is not just coming to the trots anymore. There's lots of entertainment offerings on a regular basis that we're in competition with. So we need to be a point of difference. We need to be doing something that gets people back on course to reintroduce the product. So our team have engaged some notable Australian acts. They're not just some pub touring band that we expect people to come out and see. They are, high-level entertainment that are very well known. And, by way of example, Parks a Living End and Shannon Knoll, the prodigal son, returns to Parks. And that's generally speaking, when you go into the entertainment market looking for a ticket, that's upwards of $100 ticket, and we're offering that free of charge. So, all are welcome, and encourage people, if they're not doing anything this coming Friday night, then head on out to Parks and watch a great entertainment offering from the Living End, but an equally great offering from a racing perspective.
A little bit of a pivot, a change from last time. We've got the new hosts, of course, Parks and Penrith. You've mentioned Parks this Friday night. It's going to be run entirely under lights in premier Friday night Sky Racing time slots. So that's important as well.
Yeah, 100%, Hazy. What we have to do, and my team is familiar with this saying, is we have to sweat our asset. We know that we get the best wagering outcome on Friday nights. It's a highly competitive market, and we need to be, really clever in how we sell our product. So Penrith have come into the Carnival of Cups fold. We know the Renshaw Cup was losing relevance, and it's a really historical type event, the Renshaw Cup, and something that we need to amplify. Intuitively, Penrith, people may think Penrith doesn't sit within the country portfolio, but the Renshaw Cup was always seen to be a key race for, I suppose, group horses that were sitting on the periphery or trying to break through. So we see it as a very strategic move in, one, amplifying the Renshaw Cup, two, making sure that it's on Sky One for the best possible wagering outcome. And that's the case with all of our Carnival of Cups races this year, that all of them will be under lights to ensure that we're getting the best potential wagering outcome that we possibly can.
It's such a bright future for New South Wales, and I guess, the Rusted-ons listen to this podcast, but having a look at Victoria, it would be very concerning. Queensland, obviously, they're going well, but New South Wales seems to be the bright light for harness racing in New South Wales currently, or in Australia.
Yeah, I mean, we have our challenges, absolutely, and it's really important that, one, that we don't kick anyone while they're down. I really empathise and sympathise with both the administrators and the participants down in Victoria. It's not a nice place to be in. I can assure you that there would be many, many people losing sleep at night. It's really important that we get around the harness racing ecosystem. There's absolutely no value in our industry that we operate in silos. It's really, really important that we view our industry as a national sport, because that's the way that we'll be able to progress. From the point of perspective, I beg your pardon, of harness racing New South Wales, we are in a reasonable place at the moment. Not to say, as I mentioned, we have our constraints, particularly in and around wagering and the downturn in wagering. So we'll have to be very careful in how we do business. But credit to the Board of Harness Racing New South Wales, have been very diligent and cautious in their distribution of funds and management of the industry, and that's put us in a really good place going forward. So we will continue to do business the way we are. However, look to tweak certain parts of our business to ensure that we're receiving or executing the efficiencies that we need to ensure that we don't have a day similar to Victoria's having at the moment, because we just can't.
With the funding model that New South Wales has got, could it ever get to the situation where New South Wales could fall into a position that Victoria's in, or have we just got a better funding model that will allow us to remain viable going forward?
Well, we have a different funding model, Hazy. It's not to say that our funding model may not put us in a position similar to Victoria. It's really important for your listeners to understand that it doesn't matter which way we split it, we're dependent on the wagering outcome and the wagering dollar. So when we're talking about race programming and slots on Sky One, we have to be getting our best product in the best slots most of the time, and that will ensure that we're getting the best wagering outcome, and that's a direct link into prize money and industry funding. We have, as I mentioned, different funding models, which puts us in I would say, a better position to that of Victoria. But the comparison between Victoria and New South Wales is unfair, because one, Victoria is a statutory body and harness racing New South Wales isn't. Whilst we the board report to the minister, I don't. I report to the board. So there's some stark differences between the two. Of course, Victoria have Melton within the portfolio. There's a clear delineation between harness racing New South Wales and Club Menangle. So there's some considerable differences between the two, and a comparison to the two is quite unfair. That said, we race the same amount of time. Our footprint is much bigger, so we have, as you well know, races all across the state over a bigger geographical footprint. We are at the moment facing headwinds in the wagering market, as I previously mentioned, not only here but also to our kindred bodies and anyone that I'm engaging with, and that's being felt across all wagering environments, and not just harness racing. So it's quite difficult at the moment, and notwithstanding the wagering market, the economy is going through a really difficult time at the moment. So people are pulling in the purse strings, and the discretionary spend is becoming less and less. So we have to be really clever in, where people have a discretionary dollar, and they're of the mind to gamble responsibly, then the product that they ought to be wagering on is harness racing New South Wales. And that is our focus going forward, because if we don't have that focus, then our revenues fall, and if our revenues fall, then we can't distribute the appropriate funds to industry.
Mate, question without notice about the Eureka. It's obviously been here 2 years. There's still one more year to go. Is it imperative that it remains in New South Wales, or do you think it will move away? Like, what would Harness Racing New South Wales like to see it remain in New South Wales?
Well, Harness Racing New South Wales, Hazy, made the commitment for 3 years. So we're going into our third year next year.
Yep.
And then the decision will be made thereafter, and that'll be a decision in collaboration with HRA, Harness Racing New South Wales, and the various other states. But as it stands at the moment, we've got it for another year, and the dialogue will commence on that probably, May next year.
There's so much going on. We've got the Carnival of Cups kicking off on Friday at Parks. Just around the corner is the Breeders' Challenge. And, of course, the weather's getting warmer, so people have got reason to get out of their homes and get to the racetrack, and that's what we want everyone to do.
Absolutely, Hazy. We indeed. And if you can't get to the track, then jump on Sky or tab on the digital app and get and watch it and have a punt, of course, responsibly.
Mate, thank you very much for joining me, and I'll speak with you again very soon.
Thank you, Hazy.
In a 28.4, and Mick Danger led Little Demon. Power-ups put to pressure. Scared Stiff, Debonair, and coming to the outside to try and get into the action. Right down the outside is Lebowski with Colonia Courage, but Mick Danger kicks away. Mick Danger's gone for home here. Little Demon, Debonair, they're battling out the minors. Have a look at Colonia Courage. Finish it off when it's all over. Oh, but Mick Danger, he's being rewarded for some consistent performances week in, week out, and goes home to bolt in.
Well, he's one of the informed pacers in Sydney at the moment. Mick Danger, he's just taking all before him. He's had a lot of racing of late, but he's still racing in extremely good fashion. And Jim Douglas is the man who does the driving. He's joining me to have a chat. Hey, Jimmy, how are you?
Good, Greg. How are you?
Mate, really well. Good to see Mick Danger racing so well at the moment.
Yeah. He seems to be thriving on the racing and racing over, decent horses over the longer trip, and he seems to be getting better and better. So, it's great.
Heat of the Carousel last night, and you drove him a little bit differently. You were happy to make an early move and get up and find the front, and then he raced away to score pretty easily. Was that a preconceived plan going into the race?
Not really, Greg. It was sort of I had thought about it looking at the fields, and there was probably a lot of horses in that race that might not have, but would have been happy to let him go, especially over the longer trip. And I just thought I'd play it a little bit, by ear early. There was a bit of a headwind in the back straight last night, so just do nothing early and see how it panned out. But when Little Demon lobbed in front and he looked to back off coming into the straight, I thought he'd probably be happy to hand up to me. So I took a shot, and we thought we'd have a go at doing that. And last night was probably the night to try it, and it come off. So it's great when they come off.
55 won his last 800, and he looked to be pretty strong on the line.
Yeah, he was. It was, I suppose that was a little bit of a concern, just doing that extra work mid-race. But once he got to the front, he did get it reasonably comfortable down the back straight. But like I said, it was into a headwind. So he did have that headwind coming home with that 55 half, but he seemed to do it really well. And, he felt really great on the line, yeah.
He's now had the 12 starts for the stable, and I think that's his third win since he's joined the team. He's a nice horse to have walked through the stable door.
Yeah, absolutely. He's always been a nice horse. He was a nice 2-year-old. He showed a lot of ability. He's got really good speed, and he just seems to have, he seems to like being at ease. Probably trained out of a paddock, and he just seems to have clicked with us. And that was the first time. We did do a little bit of work in an earlier race on a Monday at Newcastle, but that's the first time we've done a bit of work with him at Menangle, and he handled it really well. So, it's good to have a nice horse that we can race on a Saturday night and be competitive in a race like the Carousel.
Mate, he went 150.5 over the mile going back to July, and then he comes out last night and runs a just over 55 seconds, his last 800 over the 2300. Where's he better? Is he a better 2300 metre horse, or is he more suited at the mile where he can be saved up for that last dash at them?
Well, probably originally we thought he was sort of pretty speedy but might not be the strongest, so we probably lent to the mile. But when we gave him a go over the 2300 a few runs ago, he was tucked away on the fence doing no work, but he actually went to the line full of running behind Outside Fighter. So he proved the form since by winning a couple in a row after that. So that was a pretty good indication that he seemed to be really strong over the 2300 doing no work. And on Saturday doing a little bit of work, he was still strong on the line, even though he did get it quite comfortable when he got to the front. So to answer that question, I don't think we really know yet. He seems very versatile. Obviously, going 150 that night, the race was sort of pretty much run upside down, and he was the beneficiary. But he seems to be able to follow any speed at all and still has something there. So yeah, it's really, like I said, it's really nice to have a horse that shows a bit of promise and that can be so consistent on a Saturday night.
There doesn't look to be a real standout in the Carousel this year. It's very wide open.
Yeah, very much so. There was 4 heats last night. The other 3 winners all went really good, and the place getters behind them. So it's definitely going to be a very competitive final. But I'm very happy to be in it with Mick Danger.
Do you have to go back to the way you've been driving him? Do you think will you once you get into the final, will you have to sort of take your medicine from the bad draw and just give him some time to find his feet?
Possibly, Greg. We'll have to sort of see how it pans out. Definitely, probably. I would imagine that we wouldn't be using him up originally out of the gate and then play it by ear. Sometimes I know a lot of 2300 metre races at Menangle, they do go Indian file, but in a feature final like the Carousel, there might actually be a 1 wide line and there might be a little bit of solid type of speed mid race. So that's what ideally would love to have just one shot at him because he's got that brilliant speed. But he's shown that if he has to do something different, he can do it as well. So it's nice to have that versatility that we know he can do in the back of my mind as a driver going in, that we do have other options as well.
Mate, drove a couple of others on the night. Libby Lou, what did you make of her?
Yeah, she was very unlucky, Greg, in the first. She's only a 3-year-old filly against the older mares first up. It was my first drive in the filly, and they went very hard early. She settled 3 back to markers. She didn't have much luck in the straight. She felt like there was plenty there. So I believe she's heading towards the Breeders' Challenge 3-year-old fillies heats in 10 days' time at Menangle on the Tuesday, and I'm sure she's going to be very competitive throughout that series.
And what about lineup? What did you make of it?
Yeah, they went really hard in that race as well, over 2,300, especially early with a 47 lead time and run solidly throughout. So I think just second up from a spell over the longer trip with such a solidly run race, and him having to do a little bit of work early to find a 1-1 position, might have just told in the run home, but like he's had a couple of trials and one run over the mile, but that solidly run 2,300 I think would have topped him off nicely. So I think you'll notice marked improvement over that horse in the next couple of weeks.
Mate, you've had a pretty good week. Winner on Tuesday at Menangle, winner on Thursday at Penrith, and then you backed it up last night with Mick Danger. So 3 winners in a week's always nice.
Yeah, very nice, very nice. Had a little bit of luck, and the one on Tuesday just drew 1 and had a perfect run and got there on the line, and on Thursday had a bit of luck again, just sort of being 3 fence and getting out at the right time. So, yeah, what do they say? When your luck's in, your luck's in. But it's certainly been a week that, I'd like to repeat as much as we can, for sure.
And you're starting to tick down towards the 1,000 winners in your career mark. I think you're only got about 60 or so to go before you bring up that milestone. So that's on the horizon as well.
Yeah, right. That's interesting. Yeah, no, I hadn't really thought about anything like that, but yeah, certainly that would be nice. Absolutely.
When you first started, did you think that you'd get close to 1,000 winners in your career?
I just don't think that's something you ever think about, to be honest, Greg. Like you just go from day to day, race meeting, just trying to do your best. And I've had a bit of luck. Obviously, Ian's been very good to me. We've had some nice horses over the years. We might not have had the same quality of horse the last few years, but we've still been getting the odd winner every now and then, and I've been lucky to drive for some really good other stables over the years as well. So I've got to say I think I've been very lucky, but, I've worked hard as well, but I think I've been very lucky over the years to have that opportunities that I have. And,
mate, how are you enjoying it at the moment? Obviously had that injury and have made the comeback. How's everything going with that at the moment?
Yeah, really good. I had the hip replacement last November. It all went really well. Couldn't have asked for anything better. The surgeon was great. I did all the rehab as much as I could. I was really keen to give myself every chance to recover as good as possible, which involved a lot of sort of prehab as well before the operation. So it all went really good. I got no restrictions at all. Back running, everything like that. It's no problem. So no, everything's really good. I'm really enjoying the horse at the moment. Like Ian and myself, we're only working 10 to 12 horses at the moment. Probably a couple of years ago, we were up around, 5 years ago, we were probably up around the 20 mark. So we'll cut down a little bit, but it's probably actually more enjoyable just working that few less horses. And, a lot of them are race horses as well. So we're going to the races with our own horses at least 2 or 3 times a week. And, yeah, we're having a bit of luck. So, yeah, I'm certainly enjoying it at the moment, yep.
And is the hip going to allow you to get back onto the indoor cricket court?
Yeah, I don't know about indoor cricket. Everything else has got so busy in my life at the moment. So that's probably not on the immediate plans, but that was very enjoyable. Just as you know, you played with us, Greg. So it was good fun on a Monday night with mates. But I've enjoyed doing different things, like on a Sunday, just getting out and going hiking or just doing things like that away from the horses as well. Having that little bit of chance to, with the drop in numbers at Ian's and having a little bit of chance to get out and experience other parts in life. So I've actually really enjoyed that. If anything, it's made me more keen for the horses. So, yeah, all looking good.
Mate, great to catch up with you and hear that you're going really well, and good to see you drive 3 winners in the week. Thanks for joining me today.
Great. Thanks, Greg.
Well, this 16-year-old whiz kid has taken the racing industry by storm. She's only 16. She's already driven in 206 races. She's driven 35 winners. She's driven 47 place getters. But Zara Fitzpatrick, unfortunately, had a really nasty fall going back Friday week ago at Newcastle. She hasn't driven since, and been trying to chase her up for a little while to get on the podcast, and it's great to say that Zara's joining me to have a chat today. Hi, Zara. How are you?
Hi, Greg. I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Very well. Now, how are you after that fall going back just over a week ago?
Yeah, I'm okay. Just a bit sore, but I feel a lot better.
So what happened? Do you remember what happened when you went down?
Well, not really. No, I can't actually remember the fall because I got a bad concussion from it, but I watched the replay of it, and the horse, for no reason, just, galloped and, fell. And, I just went down. But, no, I can't actually remember it.
So pretty sore and sorry for yourself for the last week, or have you got over it pretty quickly?
I got over it pretty quickly, but, I just have a few bruises and I'm a little bit sore, but, no, I feel a lot better.
So how long do you think it'll be before we see you back at the races?
Well, I'm booked in for a doctor's appointment on Thursday or Friday to get cleared so I can drive again. And I think I have to do a cognitive test as well. So if I pass them, I should be back, not this week, next week, hopefully.
It's a scary part of the industry, isn't it, the race falls? And I saw your uncle Cameron interviewed by Mick Kokas about the fall, and obviously Robbie Morris was very quickly on the scene at the time, and he was able to render some assistance as well. A lot of people were very worried about you. And I guess Dad was in Victoria at the time too, so he had to basically get in the car and come straight home.
Yeah, it was. Just me and Cameron. Well, Cameron was my only family member up there at the time because Dad was in Victoria for the heats for the Vic Red, but we were on the same night as that. So, and Mum was at home, and it all happened really quickly. But like you said, Robbie Morris was in the race as well, and he pulled up straight away to see how I was, and he was the first responder. So, he was really good, and a lot of other people really helped out as well. I can't be any more thankful to all the people who did help out, and I'm very grateful for all the support I got.
Competitors on the racetrack, but when something goes wrong to someone within that harness racing family, everyone's in to make sure that they're okay, and that was fantastic to see. What about you? Has it given you a bit of a fright? How do you think you'll be when you get back out to the races?
No, not really, because it's actually a good thing I can't remember it. So no, it hasn't really affected me. I had my first drive back at home on Wednesday, I think it was. So, no, I was fine. I wasn't scared or anything. So, no, I don't think it will affect me.
You've made a cracking start to your career. You're only 16. You've already driven 35 winners. Has it surprised you how you've started your career?
Yeah, well, before I started, I definitely wasn't expecting this. I was just happy to drive one winner. But the support I've had has been unreal, and all the opportunities I've been given from heaps of different trainers, I can't be any more grateful. And especially to Dad and Mum. Dad's obviously one of the best drivers, and I'm very lucky to have him as my teacher. And he's helped me a lot, and so has everyone else. Mum, Uncle Gavin, Cameron, Pop, everyone, and even other senior drivers have helped me out a lot as well. And I definitely wasn't expecting my career to start off like it did, but no, I'm just grateful for everyone who's helped me along the way to get here.
So you're doing it full time, or you're still at school? What's going on in that regard?
Yeah, I'm full time working for Mum and Dad. No, I finished school last year, so yeah, full time at it.
And was that always the plan, that you were going to just move across and follow Dad and get into the horses from a young age?
Yeah, I never wanted to do anything else. I always wanted to be a driver like Dad. So yeah, it's always been my dream.
You've got a fantastic teacher in your father. He's a fantastic driver, very patient, and knows when to make the right move. Does he give you much advice after each drive? Does he have a chat with you and let you know how you can improve?
Yeah, he's very good like that. Even the little things he picks up, there's always something he picks up in every race I go around in, and yeah, he just sits me down and tells me what I could have done different and what I can improve on to or become better. And yeah, I'm very grateful to have him as my teacher. Like you said, he's one of the best, and yeah, no, he's a big help to me.
Have you set yourself a goal in the short term once you get back driving? Are you looking forward to getting your licence on a Saturday night? Are you looking forward to driving 100 winners?
Yeah, I sort of like to take it like every day as it comes. Don't really have a specific goal, but yeah, I can't get my metro licence till or next year because I have to have my licence for a year, but that will be a goal to get that and hopefully get a metro winner. But I think, yeah, I'll maybe get to 50 wins. I think I'm only 15 wins away from that, so that's probably my main goal at the moment.
Yeah, definitely achievable in the short term, that is for sure. Well, you've made a great fist at the start of your career, and I've had a number of people asking me, when am I going to get Zara on? She's made a cracking start to her career, and unfortunately it was this situation where I had to ring you after a fall. But it's good to hear that you're on the mend, good to hear that you're not too far away from making a comeback, and thank you for joining me today on the podcast.
Thanks for that, Greg. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Well, the Eureka is over, but our attention now turns towards the Carnival of Cups, which is going to kick off this Friday at Parks. Of course, massive bands coming. The Living End will be there. Shannon Knoll will be there. Looking forward to that. That's going to ensure a massive crowd and a great atmosphere for the racing on the track. Mick Dumesny, he knows what's going on, and he'll be able to tell us all about what's coming up at Parks. G'day, Mick. How are you?
G'day, Hazy. Very well, thank you.
Mate, great to have you on. Exciting times for harness racing in New South Wales, especially for the people in the Parks area with the Carnival of Cups kicking off there on Friday.
Yeah, it's just a buzz around Parks at the moment. We've just sort of come out of our footy season here at Parks and had a massive year with the local footy side, the Spaceman, and a bit of other stuff happening here in town. And we're going to leap straight into the big dance on Friday night with the Carnival of Cups. And we've speaking with Paul Cochran, I think we're nearly at 4,000 tickets for the event. Cal Carter's flying. We've got plenty of tickets there. Jared Croker, of course, is coming up to be our special guest there. And the lineup on Friday night, just can't wait to see the Living End, Shannon Knoll, Robbie Mortimer, who is partly a local, I guess. He's at Orange just down the road, and Sarah Berkey and Mick Green, who's going to be a part of that too. He's a phenomenal artist here in Park. So, yeah, no, really looking forward to it. Hazy in the town really is a buzz.
Well, the town, they've got a history of supporting harness racing. I know they can attract a really good crowd during the Elvis Festival. And obviously they put on a fireworks display around New Year's in the past, and they used to get a massive crowd for that as well. So the locals do like getting out to the trots when there's something there for them.
Most definitely. The town has been, over the years, been a very rich town with harness racing, of course, with my family, the Dumesnys, having the stud on the edge of town, and also the Handos at Rosewood there, just out the road. And there's been plenty of famous families in harness racing to come through Parks from years ago, and their descendants have kept on going here in the town, which leads to then people gaining, like a bit of inside information to get to the trots, and they've got a really good social media following the Parks Harness Racing Club, which then sort of sets the platform for us to be able to have big crowds on that Elvis night and on the New Year's Eve night, and the club just do it really, really well. And like I said, everyone gets involved. All the families of the harness racing people turn up and have a go and get involved with the night. So yeah, really, really rich town in harness racing, and a town that that supports the sport on the bigger occasions.
Well, $1 million bonus has got to attract some of the big names in harness racing in New South Wales to take horses there. I'm assuming Jason Grimson will head there. I know Swayze, they said that they weren't going to concentrate on the New Zealand Cup defence and look to target the $1 million bonus for the Carnival of Cups. And if that's the case, if they want a chance at the $1 million, they've got to win the first one. They've got to win 3 to get the 250, 4 to get 500, and if they win all 5, they'll get the $1 million. But it's not just Grimo. There's going to be plenty of stables that want to have a shot at this big money.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, early days, David Aiken come out and said that Max Delight was going to be headed to Parks along with his stable mate Malcolm's Rhythm, and they were the first two to sort of lock in and say, yeah, we want to have a crack at this bonus, and Parks being the first stop was always going to make for a big race, because if they don't win at Parks, they don't have a chance to win the $1 million bonus. So Akey was very forward in saying that his 2 horses were coming, all being equal, and then of course we touched on Grimo. It hasn't been locked in by Jay yet that Swayze and Narano are heading here, but it has been indicated throughout a few circles that he looks as though that he will be heading those 2 horses to Parks. And speaking with Joe Connolly through the week, Loyalist, the Miracle Mile performer, he'll be heading this way also. So they're the 5 big names, but just around the circles, I dare say there'll be some horses that that'll really want to put their hand up. There's some locals that are saying, "Hey, we want a part of the action." Mitch Hutchings and Malcolm Hutchings here with Terry Rama. He's a Group 1 winner in his own right. They want to have a crack. Eric the Kicker, a horse that's really come from nowhere for Team Townsend. They think that they've got a horse that can lead all the way in a race like that, and like he's not probably up to the horses of that level, but they want to be a part of it and give a sight. And of course, Barry Lou, who we know from Carlo Mick fame, has a horse called Carlo Louis. He's put him away to have a crack at this race. Now, these horses, by all means, I know are up to the heavyweights like a Max Delight or a Swayze or a Narano, but they want to throw their hat in the ring. They want to give it a crack, and I think we're going to see very good nominations this week for the dish.
Mate, if they attract all the horses that we're mentioning there, before our time when, Paleface and Hondo used to get around to all the country tracks and attract the crowd, this would have to be one of the strongest races, if they all turn up, that Parks has seen for a long, long time.
I think so. I think since the Smooth Satin and Carlo Mick days, I think this will be the strongest race. I can remember Steve brought Smooth Satin here for a size stakes race, and the crowd that night was massive. And there was a local horse by the name of Mr. HI from Ugara that Kenny Sharp and Benny Greenhouse had. He actually led Smooth Satin to the corner, and I can still picture it. I was only a young fella, but to think back to those days, to see champions and Carlo Mix and horses like that at our track at Parks, and to stand on that hill and see the crowd there because they want to see the good horse flesh. I think you're right, Hazy. I think it's going to be massive, and it's probably going to be the best race we've seen at the track in quite some time.
Yeah, well, mate, great to catch up with you and have a chat about the race. Looking forward to it. You enjoy it, and we're going to catch up with you again soon.
Thanks, Hazy. Just a quick one. We do have Calcutta tickets still available. The Calcutta's on Thursday night. If anyone wants to be a part of that, they can be in contact with myself or with the Parks Harness Racing Club via social media, and we'll hook you up with some tickets. And we look forward to seeing everybody out here Thursday for the Calcutta, and of course Friday night for the big event. It's just going to be great, and we'll see you here, Hazy.
Let's have a look at the Menangle Express. I'll go through each of the races on Saturday night and tell you what I saw. Race 1, the favourite was Sweet Cocoa at $3.40. And wow, did they charge through the first quarter here. Mini Mine Yet galloped as the starter said go. Speed from Sweet Agenda and Sweet Cocoa. But it was Sweet Cocoa who crossed down to lead. So on the pegs, it was Sweet Cocoa, Sweet Agenda, Libby Lou, No Dramas, Aureus and Mini Mine Yet. Running line, She's the Reason, Carrera Sunset, Major Fire, Heavenly Charm. 30.3 the second quarter, but the damage had been done. They broke 26 for that first quarter. No moves until the home turn when they all fanned. 27.8 round the side. It became a slog to the finish. Sweet Cocoa was in trouble. She's the Reason was trying hard out wider. Heavenly Charm started to wind up. Libby Lou was trying to squeeze back to the inside. Aureus had nowhere to go, climbing all over their backs in the straight. Carrera Sunset was also there in the blanket finish, but it was Heavenly Charm who was able to wind up late to score down the outside. Slow 28 seconds for the final quarter. Overall mile rate 151.6. Carrera Sunset good. No Dramas finished third. But I will be following Aureus out of the race, as it was really unlucky. Race 2, favourite was Ragazzo Dilly at $3.20. Speed early from our mate Menko, charging off the gate. Also was Craftsman's Charlie. Craftsman's Charlie got across to lead. Behind it on the pegs was our mate Menko. Then Foxy Dada has the courage. Zambia did go to the pegs early, but only for a moment. And then Captain Tom. Ragazzo Dilly was caught off the pegs, eased to try and get to the pegs, but gaps closed up. And this is when Zambia jumped onto its back to be second over. Then came Outside Fighter, Terry and Roll Up. The lead time was 49.2. Speed remained constant with the first two quarters, 29.7, 29.2. Zambia was gone at the cages and started to go back through the field. Ragazzo Dilly levelled up as they got to the corner, 27 around the side. Terry was forced out 3 wide with nothing going around Zambia before the straight. Our mate Menko had the right run, eased around the first two to make its run. Foxy Dada came with it. Our mate Menko kept on coming, got Craftsman's Charlie in the shadows of the post. Foxy Dada third. Terry made up a lot of ground from a really bad spot. Horses flying, worth following. Final quarter, 27.6, mile rate of 153.8. Craftsman's Charlie, it'll be winning a race very soon as well. Race number 3, favourite here was Max Delight at $2.50. For the record, this race was run 0.6 of a second faster than the Eureka. And a lot of that comes down to that really fast lead time. Speed from Arden's Ace and out wider Where You Been Boppin', who crossed down to lead. Curly James was driven aggressively. He went hard to try and get the lead, got it. And while all this was happening, Max Delight was caught out 3 wide. So on the pegs, it was Curly James, Where You Been Boppin', Arden's Ace, Classy Washington, LL Cool J and Kanina Problema. Running line, Max Delight, who pressed around to the chair. Line up, Mac Da Vinci and See Ya Art. Lead time fast, 47.3. Max Delight had a bite for the lead, but Curly James wanted to hold. They backed it off through the first half, 29.1 and then 29. Curly James was being felt for at the cages. Everyone on the pegs wanted to get off. Max Delight levelled up before the turn and took the front. Where You Been Boppin' did get off. So did Arden's Ace. And now this left a huge gap for Classy Washington, 28.3 around the side. Curly James rolled off, and all of a sudden, Classy Washington was in the clear. Mac Da Vinci and See Ya Art started to wind up down the outside. Max Delight kept trying through the middle, but it was Classy Washington who got there in the end. Smart drive by Angus Garrard, 28.2 the final quarter, 153.3 the mile rate. Max Delight, good as usual. Where You Been Boppin', strong after going hard early. He is ready to win. See Ya Art made ground. Arden's Ace wasn't far away. That was a good race. Race number 4, the Waratah final. Mr. Manager was the $2.80 favourite. Speed early here from Bat Matson and Jamboree Arc, with backwards first, then kicking up from the pole to hold them both out, although Bat Matson did grab hold and get in behind the leader. So marker pegs, backwards first, Bat Matson, Millwood Grace and Catching Confidence. Running line, Jamboree Arc, Return Serve, Rivera, St. Caramara, Mr. Manager and Major Mucha. First quarter, fastest of the race, 26.8. Isabel Ross on Mr. Manager went back to the pegs to sit 5 back on the markers on the fave, and favourite backers would have been screaming at the TV. 30.5 the second quarter. Fortune favours the brave, and when Rivera took off 3 wide before the turn, this allowed Mr. Manager to get off the inside, and then Rivera galloped. And that got Mr. Manager into the clear fully. St. Caramara was forced to go around the galloper. 29.3 around the side. Backward first rolled off. Bat Matson came to the outside. Millwood Grace stuck to the inside. Major Mucha started to make some ground after being forced to go wide on the track. Mr. Manager was out after Bat Matson, got there right on the line. Well-timed drive by Isabel Ross. Bat Matson good. St. Caramara got inconvenienced when Rivera galloped, but still home okay. Major Mucha made up ground late. Final quarter 28, mile rate 154.6. Story of the race was the brave decision by Ross to go to the pegs. Took some luck, but she got the run. Race number 5, fave here was American Hammer at $3.60. First of the heats of the Carousel. Kiss Me Elvis, R11 Art, Tishan Raider, Ryan's Gangster all off the gate well. Ryan's Gangster was able to cross from the middle of the field, but Ultimate Bird let everything happen underneath and then went forward to find the front. There was a bit of chopping and changing in the early stages, but on the pegs it was Ultimate Bird, Ryan's Gangster, R11 Art, Kiss Me Elvis, Skittle Bomb. Running line was Kaitoa. In saying that, it could have been on the pegs behind Kiss Me Elvis. They didn't opt to go there. American Hammer, Winona Ryder were behind it. Lead time 50.9. There weren't a lot of moves in this one. At all until they got to the turn. So the first quarter was 29.7, then 30.1. That's pretty standard. Kaitoa under heavy pressure approaching the home turn, which gave Ryan's Gangster every chance to come out into the clear. 28.1 around the side. R11 Art stuck to the inside. Ultimate Bird kept trying. Kaitoa was whacking away after looking beaten at the top of the straight. Skittle Bomb started to weave through them in the straight and was hitting the line strongly, but at the post it was Ryan's Gangster winning. Good drive by Josh Gallagher. 27.7 home for a 156.5 mile. R11 Art tried hard. Skittle Bomb, really good. I'll follow it. American Hammer had every chance after getting the run of the race. Race number 6, the fave here was Vicar of Dibley at $2.80. Speed from Dom Toretto on Sunday mornings in the early stages, with Dom Toretto getting down to the pegs. Emma's Boy was caught wide and pressed forward and ended up finding the front. So on the markers, it was Emma's Boy, Dom Toretto, Don't Let Fear Stop Ya, Our Ideal Dream, Smooth Buzz, Wave the Bill. Running line, Our Sunset Delight Sunday mornings, The Real McCoy and the Vicar of Dibley. But the Vicar of Dibley took off 3 wide as they entered the straight the first time and wanted to get up outside the leader and got there as they got to the judge with a lap to go. Lead time, slow, 52.7, quarters 31.8, 30.8. Still nothing moved at the cages, but they did quicken it up, 28.6. Although Seaton Grimer on the Real McCoy tried to get something moving, he took off 3 wide prior to the turn. Emma's Boy rolled off, presented a run to Dom Toretto. Our Ideal Dream stayed to the pegs. Vicar of Dibley trying hard. Outside it was Our Sunset Delight, and Sunday mornings was out even wider. Don't Let Fear Stop Ya ran up onto their backs, had nowhere to go. 27.2 home, and it was Dom Toretto who won it in a slogging go. Mile rate very slow, 159.7. Place getters, they tried hard. Our Sunset Delight and the Vicar of Dibley. Don't Let Fear Stop You is the one I think that is worth following out of that race. Race number 7, fave here was Vinky B at 4.20. 4 horses that wanted to get forward. Junior Warfare, Cat's Eye Beach, Raka Jed Speculating. It was Speculating that crossed from the wide draw. So on the peg, Speculating, Cat's Eye Beach, Junior Warfare, The Exorcist. Running line, it was Raka Jed, Ideal Marquez, Vinky B, Bartello, Donegal Luther. Lead time 49.4. First half slow, 29.6, 30.3. There were no moves. However, at the cages, first over, Raka Jed stopped. Junior Warfare, 3 markers, stopped as well. And this forced a few to take off earlier than expected. Ideal Marquez, Vinky B, Bartello, Donegal Luther, they were all out wide before the turn. The Exorcist just had to sit on the pegs and wait for a chance to get around the tiring horses. 29.2 around the side, so still no acceleration from the leader. Different story in the straight. Speculating went for home, set up a good break. Cat's Eye Beach was trying to hold on to second, but Ideal Marquez was able to grab it right on the line for silver. The run of the race outside the winner was Donegal Luther. Powered up the straight, made up good ground for 5th. Beaten 11 metres. Final quarter 26.8. Mile rate 155.7. Good drive Blake Jones, giving him a double. Race 8, fave was Mick Danger at $2.70. There was speed early from Little Demon and Debonair, and Debonair got to the fence before letting Little Demon roll to the top. They settled pretty quickly into single file. It was Little Demon, Debonair, Ramiro, Power Up, Scared Stiff, Hooter, Lebowski, Mick Danger, Colonia Courage, Stir Me Up. However, as they were rounding the home bend on the first occasion, Mick Danger was off and moving and ended up rolling to the front in a slow lead time of 50.7. They walked through the first quarter 29.9. Lebowski came off the inside at the 1,000, and that started the running line with Power Up and Scared Stiff coming off the inside in front of it. Colonia Courage jumped onto the train, was 4th over, 30.8 the second quarter. The speed increased in the third quarter to 28.4. Power Up was in trouble on the turn. Mick Danger went for home, set up a race-winning break. Debonair got into the clear when Power Up started to tire, and it looked set to finish hard but failed to fire. Colonia Courage got to the outside, powered home, while Stir Me Up tried to weave through the middle and had some success finding runs. It was a pretty easy win for Mick Danger in the end. Final quarter, 26-7, mile rate 156.5. Little Demon held on well for second, soft run. Stir Me Up, Colonia Courage, both good late after doing no work. Debonair disappointing after sitting 3 pegs. Race 9, favourite here was Glenletty Elvis at $2.90. Double Act missed the start, but it could have been worse. Speed from Glenletty Elvis, and he worked to the front before Raka Dan was out for the retake, and they went into single file. So it was Raka Dan, Glenletty Elvis, Rockley Image, Black Onyx, High Voltage, Double Act, Surfer's Delight, Cassius Deck, and Unfazed. High Voltage came away from the inside on the turn. On the top turn the first time and worked forward and got the lead in a slow lead time of 50.7. But Grimer wanted the front and came around on Raka Dan and injected some speed into the race. 27.6 first quarter over the long trip. Simply too quick. They moved into the back straight. Surface Delight, Cassius Deck, Unfazed came off the inside and started the running line, not wanting to be pocketed. Glenletty Elvis came off the inside at the 900 and was first over. 30.3, 28.8 with the second and third quarters. There were no moves as they got to the home turn. They all fanned 5 wide. Double Act had to ease right around the entire field to get into the clear. Raka Dan gave a good kick. Glenletty Elvis was gone. Unfazed and Cassius Deck worked home together down the outside. Down the outside. Unfazed ran through the line strongly, got to Raka Dan in the shadows of the post, was rewarded for some strong recent efforts. Raka Dan brave, just did too much in that first quarter. Cassius Deck was good, it's ready to go back to Bathurst and win. Double Act was good up the straight after making a meal of the start. He isn't far away. Glenletty Elvis used up at the start and then asked to come into the race from the 900. That might not be his go. Final quarter 27.6, mile rate 155.3. Best win of the night, Mick Danger. Dominated and never looked in any doubt. Once he got to the front, he was going to take some beating. Smart drive by Jimmy Douglas. So best win of the night goes to Mick Danger. Best beaten effort of the night. I'll go with Where You Been Boppin'. Worked at both ends of the race and still finished third to Classy Washington. The horse is going extremely well and it will find a race where it can lead throughout shortly. Make sure you follow it. And best drive of the night, Isabel Ross. It's the standout. Ran the risk of not getting out with Mr. Manager when she went back to the inside, but she got the run. She proved too good. So drive of the night goes to Isabel Ross.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Winning. Hey, that's pretty good.
Winner!
That was legitness.
That I say, all right. Wow, winning.
Bam! Just like that. That's all there is to it. That's all there is to it. A winner! Just like that.
Both of us, but good start in the tipping competition for spring. Mr. T found 2 winners last week. He's positive $30. I found 1 winner and I'm positive $74. So I've set up a little bit of a lead. What has Mr. T got for us this week? Mr. T in race 4 at Bathurst on Wednesday is going with number 9, Sweet on Lexi, back from his trip to Queensland. And despite the second row draw, will take a lot of holding out in that event. Trained and driven by Bernie Hewitt, does look the winner. Race 4, number 9, Sweet on Lexi. And race 7, number 7, Gulmarg for Billy Kitt. Failed to beat a runner home at huge odds last time out. 2 starts ago was beaten 30.2 metres. Last win was in Queensland back in November 2022. I know I've got off to a good start and I've set up a $44 lead. Maybe this is a way of Mr. T closing the margin. Who knows? Race 7, number 7, Gulmarg. My 2, Menangle Tuesday. Race 2, number 4, Personified. Hard to believe that she is still a maiden. Made up a stack of ground last time out, and Gavin Fitzpatrick is back in the sulky, so he gets a few ticks, and I think Personified is going to take a lot of beating in the heat of the Breeders' Challenge. And race 5, I'm going to go with number 4, and that is My Ultimate Barney, is also going around in the heat of the Breeders' Challenge. I couldn't believe my eyes when it won last time out. Was in a near impossible position, and Cam Hart just pulled it to the outside, and it flooded home and got there. Huge win. Back to his own age group. I think he'll be winning. That's race 5, number 4, My Ultimate Barney. Just about wraps up the show. I did want to mention the passing of Graham McNeice, better known as Shadow. The racing industry is definitely poorer for his passing. I had a fair bit to do with Shadow when I was in my early days at Sky, and a lot of people have passed on their best wishes and their memories of Graham. I know he sat alongside me when I did my first television shift at Sky. I was so nervous, and Graham ensured that I was as calm as I could be, spoke to me while we threw to races and kept me calm throughout the afternoon and made sure that I'd go back for a second shift. So I will always be indebted to Graham for the kindness and the caring aspect that he showed me when I turned up at Sky after having worked at 2KY for a few years. So he is a massive loss to the racing industry as a whole. And also passing of Terry Radley, the father of Greg and Michael Radley. Of course, Greg on Sky Channel, and Mick, well, he's the boss of Gloucester Park. Terry was a journalist and did a lot of work in harness racing for a number of years in the Hunter Valley. Very well respected, and another man that will be sorely missed by the industry. I do want to thank Peter Buckman and Mick Dumesny for pumping up the Parks Carnival for me today. Can't wait for the Carnival of Cups getting back underway next Friday. Also, thanks to Jimmy Douglas, Zara Fitzpatrick for coming on the podcast as well. Hope you've enjoyed it. Bye for now.